We think we're so healthy, but we don't know what could happen tomorrow. Hi everyone, it's Charm again from Ready to Adult Philippines, a channel about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and adulting how-tos. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my most requested videos, and that is about Life Insurance 101. All the basics that you need to know about life insurance, I will try to talk about in this video, and in a separate video, I can talk about what my policies are and how you can prepare and go about getting one as well. Okay, so major disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor and I am not gonna try to sell you any products. So with that said, let's start the video. So we're gonna be breaking this video down to why we need the protection, and then next we're gonna talk about what life insurance is. We're gonna be quickly talking about the difference between life insurance and health insurance, the different terminologies, and then the types of life insurance, when you should get life insurance, and then how you can get one, some requirements you will need, and what you should do after you get your life insurance. First is, why do we need this type of protection? I really like this acronym that a financial advisor once told me, and it's SAD or SAD. Because as humans, we experience sad events in our lives. So that can be sickness, accidents, death, or disabilities. And since a lot of people don't have life insurance, what they usually do is they use up their life savings, they sell their assets or things, they would borrow money or loan money, or their friends and family would fundraise for them. And the worst part there is, if they don't have access to all of those, they could just die. You know, knock on wood. Let's hope it doesn't have to reach to that just because you are not protected. Okay, so now that we know that sad events happen in our lives, here comes life insurance that can possibly help us in those moments. Because a life insurance is a financial tool that provides and supports the family of an insured person in case of death. Okay, so this is done through a lump sum amount of cash, or this is also called the death benefit. I have heard a lot of people being skeptical about insurance in general, and I understand where they're coming from. You're giving a small amount every year, but you get possibly hundreds of thousands or millions in return. I get the skepticism, and skepticism is healthy, but when you're skeptic, I always say go and research about a product or a service so that you know why they can offer such things. Okay, so with life insurance, how does it work? Basically, you as an insured pay a set premium every year to a life insurance company, and similar to the banks, that doesn't just stay in a vault, right? They go ahead and invest your money, and because they invest that money, when you or your family or your beneficiaries need the amount that they promise, your family will be able to claim more than what you paid for. Okay, so I hope that was clear about how insurance companies work. So now let's talk about what or who life insurances are for. Okay, so first, it is for breadwinners, especially those with dependents. Okay, so for Filipinos, it's very common for 20s or even if you're in your 30s to be breadwinners. So if you're a breadwinner, and especially if you're the only one earning in the family and something bad happens to you, your family, your beneficiaries will be left without a source of income. Okay, so that's why life insurance is especially important if you are the one earning, mainly earning for the family. It can serve as an income replacement for your family when you are no longer around. When they are trying to get up their feet and, you know, maybe find another source of income, at least they have the life insurance that can cover them for a couple of years. And then next is that even if you're not the breadwinner of the family, but you have acquired debt that can be passed on. For example, certain loans like home loans and car loans, and without you around anymore, your family still needs to pay for those. The amount remaining for those loans should be covered by your life insurance so that you don't leave any burden to your family because the grief is already enough. So if you're listening and you don't seem to relate to any of what I'm talking about, maybe you're someone who doesn't have a beneficiary, then maybe you should focus more on health insurance more than life insurance. But the thing there is you also have to consider if you plan to have a family in the future. So what can a life insurance and its riders cover? So it covers death, accidents, permanent disability, and it also covers critical illnesses. So there are many more riders, but those are the common ones. Critical illness would cover like cancer, stroke, heart attack. Every company usually offers different but very similar coverage when it comes to critical illness. Okay, so I mentioned earlier about health insurance. So let's discuss what is the difference between life insurance and health insurance. So basically, health insurance is usually for the insured. Okay, it usually covers hospital bills, medical bills, checkups, doctor's fees, and etc. Okay, so the life insurance doesn't cover really the insured but the beneficiaries of the insured. Those are the children, the spouse, the partner, or the parents of the insured, and it's usually for income replacement, cash flow, because it's done through a lump sum amount. Okay, so I might have already mentioned some terms that you're not very familiar with, so very quickly, let's go over the major terms that you might hear, especially when you are consulting with a financial advisor. Okay, so very first is the insurance policy. So the insurance policy is basically a contract between the insurance company, that's the insurer, and the policy owner, that's the insured. The beneficiaries would basically be the people that you stipulated in the policy who would receive the money in case of your demise. They can't be just random persons. You have to have a relationship with them. They're either family, a close relative, or you have economic relationships with them. And recently, I found out from my financial advisor that you can actually put as a beneficiary your life partner if you are part of the LGBTQ community, which is really great and inclusive of the insurance commission to do something like this. Okay, so next is the coverage. So the coverage is basically the amount. It can also be called sum insured. So it's basically the amount of money that you will be leaving for your beneficiaries. Okay, so next term is the premium, and it's basically the amount that you pay to the insurance company every year. Last term would be riders. And when you get a life insurance, it only usually covers a death benefit. But you can add on the different coverages that I mentioned earlier so that you can further protect yourself. So now that we've quickly talked about the major terms that we would hear when we talk about life insurance, let's talk about the types of life insurances. Okay, so first is the term life insurance. So what that is it's just basically life insurance. It's not linked to any investment or fund, but because of that, it's typically the cheapest form of insurance. The term can be as short as 1 year or 20, 30 years, okay? So the thing there is, if you did not renew your term life insurance on time, you might not be covered anymore. So this is great if you just started working and you haven't saved up a lot, because your family can still be covered and you can still be insured for a very minimal cost. So next is for the permanent insurance, and under that we have two kinds. We have the whole life, and then we have the VUL or variable universal life. So the whole life insurance, it covers usually the insured up to 99 or 100 years old, and you can actually loan from yourself. Basically, the policy, you can loan from the policy if ever you need the cash, okay? The difference between the two basically is that VUL is linked to an investment. Okay, so basically, term life insurance doesn't have cash value. Whole life insurance has a cash value, and the VUL has a fund value, so it's growing. The VUL is one of the most common types of insurance right now because a lot of people like the fact that it is indeed linked to an investment and it becomes like a forced savings. I'm gonna be talking about term insurance and BTID versus VUL in another video. I know that is a highly requested topic as well, so watch out for that. Lastly, we're gonna go to the third type of insurance. So we've done term insurance, we've done permanent insurance, and now let's talk about endowment. And what endowment, and to my understanding, is basically like the bonds of insurance. It promises us a risk-free, guaranteed small return as long as we make the monthly payments. And the typical maturities are like 10, 15, 20, or 30 years or upon death. I'm not sure why it's not as popular anymore. I think because people would really prefer to grow their money more in VULs or investing directly. So yeah, that is still there though, because I feel like it's an important insurance, especially if you can't take too much risk anymore. So when you're in your later years of your life, then endowment can still be a great option for that. Okay, so when is the best time for you to get a life insurance? You need to have a stable source of income first, especially because there's a payment every year for life insurance, right? And next is preferably you would already have at least 3 months of emergency fund. So I say at least 3 months because you can already get a life insurance as you continue to build your emergency fund to be 6 months or even 1 year. Lastly, for the age, I would really recommend for you to buy an insurance policy as early as possible because they are much cheaper when you are younger, because generally you are much healthier when you get to your 40s, 50s, 60s. Insurance tends to become much more expensive, and especially if you already have a medical history, you had operations before, you've had illnesses before, then it would definitely affect the price of your insurance premium. Alright, so now let's talk about how you can get your life insurance. Of course, the first option would be to have a financial advisor. If you don't personally know anyone, there are a lot of insurance advisors that are very reliable on social media, but also you can approach the companies, you can email them, you can go through their portals and request for a financial advisor to reach out to you. The next way would be to buy online. So I know a couple of insurance companies who sell their term life insurance on Lazada and Shopee. So that's amazing, right? If you're already familiar with what term insurance you typically get, then you can just, buy the insurance products online. Okay, now let's talk about the requirements. I'm sure a lot of you are asking at what age you can get a life insurance. So for a lot of insurance companies, they would already allow you to own your own policy at the age of 18. Okay, so for the other requirements, of course, you would be filling up application forms. Typically, the financial advisors would be helping you with this, a valid ID or government IDs. And then you would usually either need like an SSS, the number, or UMID number. And then, of course, you would need the payment. Okay, so, and the next, sometimes in different policies, or it depends on your situation, is you might need to undergo medical exams. A lot of insurance companies don't require this anymore unless necessary. The reason why you might undergo medical exam as well is if you have medical history. It can be operations, it can be illnesses and such. So you might have other requirements if you went through those. So this can actually dictate also the price of your policy. Okay, so lastly, what are the things that you need to do when you get your life insurance? Okay, so first thing is you have to safekeep your policy. Your beneficiaries wouldn't necessarily need this if they need to claim for the insurance, but you will need this for when you're paying your premium, when you're checking how much premium you've paid or what are the coverage of your life insurance so that you can review it in the future. The next thing that you have to do is you have to talk to your beneficiaries. If you're someone who got a beneficiary for your children, for your parents, for your siblings, then it's best to sit down, talk to them, tell them what the coverage is, what they should do in case of your demise, introduce them to your financial advisor, because these are things that they might not necessarily think about anymore, especially if they're mourning, but it would be great if they already know what to do beforehand, right? So yeah, those are the two important things that you need to do after you get your policy. And yeah, that's our video for this week. I hope it was informative. I hope that you guys understood what insurance and life insurance is all about. I am gonna be talking about how you can go about the decision of choosing a company, how much insurance coverage you need, and I'm gonna be sharing to you guys my insurance policies in the next video. So make sure to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you get updated when I post that video. And if you found this video helpful, then please click like on this video. It really helps out a lot. So with life insurance, I really do advocate for people to have this type of financial tool as protection, because especially with what's happening nowadays, we really can't tell what would happen, right? Like, we think we're so healthy, but we don't know what could happen tomorrow. And it's really best to think ahead. It's like the prevention is better than cure, right? You don't want your family to scramble around and try to look for what they can do to survive on top of mourning for someone. So yeah, I'm gonna be talking more about that in this next video because I feel like this video is already so long, but nonetheless, I hope it was value adding to you guys. I know that adulting is already hard, but personal finance doesn't have to be. And this has been Charm again from Ready to Adult Philippines, and I will see you on my next video.